family emergency, otherwise she would be here tonight. So I have the pleasure of chairing the meeting for tonight. Can I get, this is a conference agenda meeting first. Passaic County Board of Chosen Freeholders, July 18, 2017. We're doing this in Pompton Lakes tonight. It's our pleasure to do it in Pompton Lakes. Lewis, you want to do a roll, please?
Freeholders, Apter, Bartlett. Here. Best. Duffy. Here. Lepore. Here. Deputy Director James.
Here. And the first thing we do is a conference agenda. I'm going to turn this over to our administrator, Anthony DeNova, who will get us through this agenda. Anthony?
Sure. Is the mayor in the room? Where's the mayor?
There
he is. Mayor, we'd like to just invite you up and say some welcoming remarks, and then I think we have some gifts. We come here in gifts.
It's gold, frankincense, and myrrh, because we understand that works.
Well, I thank you all guys for coming downtown. You know, we feel it's an honor for Pompton Lakes for you guys to come down and hear our residents and hear what they have to say. I'm sure our town is not a quiet town, so I'm sure we'll have some local comments for you, good or bad, and I'm sure I have to go over. So again, I thank you all for coming, and
Sure. Mayor, why don't you stay up there and we'll present Deputy Director. We have brought here this evening our historic sites poster as well as a Morris Canal poster that we will leave for you, and hopefully you can hang it in the municipal building.
yeah, very nice, thank you. We're in the process of working on the Morris Canal.
Yes.
One of the towns that's going to be involved with the Morris Canal and improving that walkway and bikeway, so that's important to us. We're actually in the middle of looking for grant money for that.
So you'll see that we have some historic sites. There's one that's going to be added to this in your town, which is the Ryerson Crypt is going to be redone. That was part of our open space grant this year. It's for historic preservation. It's in disrepair. We're going to correct it. So it's a treasure for us in Passaic County and one of the national historic sites. Jersey is completely done. So we're very happy about that.
You know, that's a great area, because that really needed some help.
It did, and it's going to be fully restored, so that was part of our open space grant for this year. They applied for it. We have a woman who does our historic sites. She's at the dimension. We've redone that. So we got to redo this because it's part of our history, and it's part of what Passaic County is proud of, and it's in your town. So we're really happy about it. Do you have any questions for us?
So actually, you're going to redo the crypts there, and then
Yes.
the site. Okay, that's a historical site that goes back, what, over 100 years?
Or more.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So, I know the church was very concerned about that, so I'm glad you guys are out there.
Yeah, well, they met the criteria based on historical preservation. We normally don't do business with churches because we can't. And this we can because it's historic and it's on a registry. So it fit our criteria, and we're really kind of thrilled about it because everything we have in Passaic County, we're lucky because we were part of the revolution. We have many historic sites, and we are blessed with all those historic sites. So our goal is to make sure that all of them that can be preserved are preserved, because that's our history, that's the country's history, and it means everything to us. Realize you have anything you want to add to it?
Cover it all, I think.
Thank you, thank you.
I know who this guy is with the camera. I kicked him out.
I hope it was good.
No, I have no idea what he is really. He's training around. I'm sorry, what's your name?
Good? Come on now.
Yeah. I've got many letters from you. Thank you very much. We had a meeting with the mayor earlier, and I thank you for your hospitality. You've been very good to us, and I appreciate what you've done for the behalf of the whole board. So thank you. I don't know who this guy is either, but he's not with me right now.
Mayor, I don't know if you have any of your council members here, but you're welcome to introduce them if you would.
Councilman Bennett, Councilman
And thank you again for your hospitality and having us here this evening. Next, we would have the review of the consent agenda.
Okay, just so you know, by law, we can't start the actual meeting until 6 o'clock. So, Tony's gonna sing a few bars of a song that he really likes, and Pat Lepore apparently can dance very well, so we're gonna have him, don't give him dollars, it's not what he's here for. We do want to have a review of a consent agenda. It's K1 through to L63. Does anybody have you reviewed it all, and do you have any questions at all on any of the resolutions that are on the current agenda? Realtors?
Nope. No question.
County Council?
Director, through you, we have 2 late starters and 1 amendment. The first resolution is a resolution authorizing expenditure in the amount of $95.60 from Carter Enhancement Funds for purchase and installation of 2 bronze plaques on McBride Avenue.
What's the number?
This is a late starter.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Late starter.
64.
It's a grant for the Veterans, Patterson Veterans Memorial, the 2 plaques on McBride Avenue Bridge, near the Veterans Memorial Park. The other one is a resolution authorizing expending approvals for the Division of Weatherization based on a bid. That just was received by error. It didn't make the regular agenda, but it's a bid and it needs to be awarded tonight, Mr. Director. And what we would request is, you'll notice on your agenda today, there are 2 listings of the amendment to the Open Space Trust Fund account, 14 and 18. What we're asking is that 14 be removed and number 18, which is on your K18, be amended because the caption was incorrect on it. That's why you didn't pick it up on it. So
This is replacing what?
This is replacing this is just amending number 18.
L18.
14, L14 would be removed, L18 would be amended, and it would be a resolution to amend the 2017 Open Space Farmland and Historic Trust Preservation Trust, approved by Resolution R 217-033, dated January 24, 2000.
So 18 is just a substitution of...
Yes,
Okay,
that is
good.
correct. It was listed by mistake. That's what we have.
And what's L14 again?
L14 was a duplicate.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Any questions on that, Freeholders?
No.
All right, since we...
Now, I do want to comment on there is one resolution on your agenda today that requires 5 votes. So at the regular meeting, I'm going to have to ask you to hold the resolution if it's not, and that is a resolution for the salt shed storage facility in West Milford.
Well, we expect that Freeholder Best and Freeholder Achter are going to be here.
Okay.
Freeholder Achter is working, he gets out, he should be here shortly.
All right, well,
If you have the final...
I just want to mention that to you.
Well, we can't start till 6 o'clock, so hopefully someone will be here by that time. Freeholder Best was quite a distance away, but he indicated that he will be here. What I'm going to do, because we have some time to kill before we can actually start, Freeholder Duffy, Lepore, and Bartlett, if you would like, we're near your hometown, Terry, if you would like to say anything to the public.
I used to live in this town, actually, years and years ago.
So you kicked it out.
I first got married, Ackerman Place, next to the Carries. Randy, I used to own a bar in behind the diner, Back Street Saloon. I used to own Bullwinkle's down the street in Riverdale. Kind of grew up. This is a great town. We only had Sean, my first, and then we had Ryan, and we had to move out. The boys were getting bigger and bigger, so we moved to West Milford. But I've seen Pompton Lakes grow, and it's a great little town to be in. So it's a great town, and still, I look forward to coming back and forth. I miss Wex like everyone else, though. That was some story. So always good, fond memories. Pompton Lakes, Riverdale.
If anybody was ever beat up in his bar, I don't know if the statute of limitations for lawsuits is old. I would look in, we have an attorney here, he's going to talk to you.
it has.
I'm not,
No.
there,
I got your back there.
So,
surrounded by attorneys.
well, it's nice to be back, and thank you for the hospitality, certainly. It's always a pleasure. Thank you. Are we going in order or by distance from, where we're sitting right now? Because then I go next.
All right, you're welcome to go
No,
now.
I'm Fielder John Bartlett. I've met most of you before. I live right down the road in Wayne, and by right down the road, I mean just take Hamburg Turnpike down a couple of miles, and you get to my house right past the Starbucks. The other Starbucks, not the first Starbucks. But for me, living in Wayne and spending a lot of time in this part of the county, it's a great pleasure to be here tonight. We are really making efforts to invest in this part of Passaic County. You see that in the example that Fielder James gave earlier of our historic investment in the preservation of the crypt, but also in the fact that, for example, Passaic County Community College, right down the road in Wanacue, that campus now has every course of study that the community college offers. In other words, you don't have to go down to Patterson or down to Clifton or down to Passaic or other campuses in order to study whatever course of study the community college may have to offer. It's available right next door in Wanacue. That's part of what we're trying to do, to see to it that every corner of Passaic County is getting the investments and the services, the road repair, bridge culvert repair, but also those educational opportunities and other access. We've got a lot of our team here with us today. Deb Hoffman in Economic Development, who I know is forever working to help small businesses find locations and find funding and find ways to expand and locate right here in Passaic County, and the whole rest of our team, and know that they are always available as resources to all of you as elected officials and all the citizens of Passaic County, and as am I.
Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here in Pompton Lakes. I'm Freeholder Pat Lepore. A couple of things I wanted to touch on as far as what the county impact is to Pompton Lakes. Some of the projects that we have started or are in the process of constructing. In terms of the bridges, you have the Colfax Avenue Bridge project, which is going to be completed this year, finally. Under design, you have Lakeside Avenue Culvert and the Lakeside Avenue Bridge. They're both under design. The culvert cost is about $517,000. The bridge is about $270,000. Riverdale Avenue, the construction cost was $905,000. That was completed in 2010. Capital Road projects, we had Dawes Highway and Hamburg Turnpike, Ramapo Avenue, Hamburg Turnpike to Riverdale, Passaic Avenue, Hamburg Turnpike, Wanacue River to James Ramapo. All these projects that I've listed, roughly about $1.6 million. All the projects have been completed, and there's a drainage project going on right now, Hamburg Turnpike, Wanacue River to James. It's included in the resurfacing project. That was also completed in 2016. On the community development block grant numbers, since 2008, Pompton Lakes has received $875,000 for a number of projects, including the library and a number of 88 curbs throughout the municipality. Open space awards. There have been a number of open space awards over the past, since 2001. Pompton Lakes has received just shy of $1.5 million. So we're very happy about that. Paratransit has completed almost 2,800 rides between January and May of 17. And in the last 12 months, 5,715 meals have been delivered through Meals on Wheels. These are just some of the projects and programs that the county and Pompton Lakes touch each other with, and we're happy to provide that. On a personal note, one thing I like about once a year coming to Pompton Lakes is your fair around the lake itself on Pompton Lakes Day. It's an exciting event. I've seen the mayor there a few times. It's a long fair, but good time had by all. And especially, I love the residents along the roadway who have their little parties going on. It's like a party within a party. So Pompton Lakes knows how to have a good time. And Mayor, you got a great community here. Glad to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. My administrator said we killed all the time. We killed.
We really legally cannot start till 6 o'clock because that's what we advertise. I will say that we really appreciate, we like taking the Freeholder meetings on the road so that people in various areas of the we're a huge county. West Milford, to Little Falls, to Passaic, to Wayne, we're just a big county area-wise. So for us to take the county government meetings to various communities throughout the years, we've hit every single municipality. We are now in the process of repeating municipalities because we think everybody deserves the right to have government come to them at least once every couple of years where they can see what happens at a county government meeting. Some people don't know what a freeholder is. We have brochures that explain what a freeholder is and what a freeholder does and where your county tax dollars go. As you know, we had a 0 increase in county tax dollars this year. That took years of planning and work to get done. And I credit some of our professionals, particularly our county administrator, in getting to where we got to. It's about good government, and it's not a party thing. Good government is good government. And when you serve the people of your when you serve the constituents well, and we hope that we do that, that's reward in itself. I don't think anybody who serves on a Board of Ed who gets 0 pay, or anybody who serves in an elected position in Passaic County, and I mean either county or municipal, I don't mean state, they work for peanuts. It's really not a lot of money. So people who do this really are dedicated to making things better for people. We can disagree sometimes on what that is, but there's not a hell of a lot of different ways to pave a road or do a bridge or provide a service that somebody needs, whether it's Meals on Wheels or anything else. It transcends what a party looks at, and it goes to what we need to do as government. Otherwise, why are we in it? I appreciate the response that we get from elected officials, and it doesn't matter what town it is that we've been to. The response that we get and the greeting that we get from our fellow elected officials, regardless of party throughout the county, has been wonderful. And it's enjoyable for us to do it, because we get to hear from people that wouldn't make it down to Patterson all the time. So I appreciate Mayor and Council, I appreciate you having us here tonight and allowing us to do this. It's exciting to me. I get to see people that I wouldn't normally see down in Patterson. I do this full-time. We're pretty busy. There's a few of us that do this full-time. A lot of us do it. If we're part-time, believe me, it's full-time hours. So this is a reward to us, and I really appreciate everybody allowing us to be here tonight. And I have nothing left to say for 10 minutes, 11 minutes. You don't want to hear me sing. You don't want to hear me sing because nobody will stay for 6 o'clock. And I'm sorry, what is it?
A motion to adjourn the conference agenda.
We could do that and vote very slowly. All right, we'll take, you're done? Does that mean you're done? You have nothing to say? Nothing at all? Okay. All right, so I'll take a motion to adjourn the conference agenda.
Make that motion?
Second. Roll.
Freeholders Bartlett.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we will actually open the regular meeting in 10 minutes. If you want to go outside and sweat, feel free. Thank you for the air conditioning. All right, thank you, everybody, for attending. This is the meeting, July 18, 2017, Passaic County Board of Chosen Freeholders. Today, we're holding it in Pompton Lakes, New Jersey. Can I have an announcement of the Open Public Meetings Act, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, the notice requirement of open public meetings law has been satisfied with respect to this meeting specified in time, date, location included in the end of the notice adopted the reorganization meeting filed with the county clerk, posted in the administration building, and mailed to 2 newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the law.
Could you repeat that?
No.
Okay. Roll call.
Freeholders Apter. Here. Bartlett. Here. Best. Duffy.
Here.
Lepore. Here. Deputy Director James.
Here.
Director Lazare.
Can we please stand for the invocation? We're going to have a pledge of allegiance, and then we are going to have a moment of silence to remember all of the men and women who have died while serving in the United States Armed Forces.
I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And for those with no short-term memory loss, I did say we're going to do the invocation, then that, but that's okay.
And then we're going to have a moment of silence to remember all the men and women who have died while serving in the United States Armed Forces.
O God, who provides for thy people by thy power and rules over them in love, be gracious enough so to bless thy servants, our freeholders, in this county of Passaic, that thy people may dwell in peace and safety, through our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Should we do it again, Director?
No. We have a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. Got a motion to approve the minutes of June 27th.
Make that motion.
Second.
Roll.
Freeholders, Actor. Yes. Bartlett.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore. Yes. Deputy Director James.
Yes. I have a motion to approve the proclamations.
So be it.
Second.
Moved by Duffy, seconded by Actor. Roll.
Freeholders, Actor.
Yes.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore. Deputy Director James.
Yes. Freeholder reports. Anybody who have anything that they wish to go over that they didn't in the pregame show? Anyone?
Most of the report we have, Deputy Director, is in the form of resolutions in tonight's agenda.
Thank you, sir. We have no communications, or do we?
No communications.
All right. Can I have a motion to open the oral public portion of the meeting, please?
So moved.
Moved by Bartlett, seconded by Actor.
Freeholders, Actor.
Yes.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore. Deputy Director James.
Yes. Members of the public who wish to speak, you'll have 3 minutes. Please come to the podium, state your name and address, and without either, I'll ask you for the address again. Name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes to address the Freeholder Board. Anyone? Good. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mike Sarah, Pompton, 41 West Lenox Avenue, Pompton Lakes, New Jersey. First of all, in Pompton Lakes, we get 5 minutes. But okay, if you want to do it, that's fine.
Your 2 minutes are up.
I again want to thank you guys for coming down to Pompton Lakes. It's a big support for our residents, a big support for our mayor and council to get the questions out that they have for you guys. It shows that parties are working together in a community. That it doesn't matter where we're going. We all have the same goal at the end of the day. We want to make Pompton Lakes better. You guys want to make the state county better. So at the end of the day, that's our goal for both of us. So again, thank you for coming.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mayor.
Mayor.
Anyone else wish to be heard? Come on up.
What would a meeting be like without me?
I don't know, but state your name and address.
Oh, yes.
And you have your 3 minutes.
Joan Gordon Murko. I'll do that later. 50 Caston Lane, Woodland Park. I have nothing to say tonight about the disc golf, and nothing to say about the dog park. But I do have something to say about something I just downloaded today off the internet. It says Passaic County holds public meeting for feedback on Morris Canal Greenway project. What? I know I only have 3 minutes, so stop talking. This is a question that I guess, I don't know if you can answer it. How does the county administration decide what is going to be open, what projects are going to be open to public meetings versus not? Because I went to, and Freeholder Report would know this, I went to a number of meetings for, what we can do with the parks and the master plan, et cetera. And it seems that if my memory is correct, that before Ella Philippone died in, I think, 2013, 2014, whatever the year was, I don't remember the plan that you folks have now as being what was discussed then. Now, I don't go to all meetings, et cetera, I don't read everything, but that is my question. So how is it that the Morris Canal Greenway project, which is to build a bridge over the Peckman River in Little Falls, that gets a public meeting, but the other plans for Rifle Camp Park and perhaps even Garrett Mountain don't get a public hearing? That's the question.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on. Well,
Hi.
if you're going to speak, I'm sorry for interrupting you. If you're going to speak, just line up, because otherwise we can mistake that and close the portion of the meeting. So if you don't mind where these gentlemen are standing, just line up over there and wait your turn. I'm sorry, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Is it okay?
Yeah, just say your name and address, please.
I'm Doreen Fraga, Saddlebrook, New Jersey. I represent the League of Humane Voters of New Jersey and the members of Passaic County. First of all, I'd like to thank you for your compassion towards animals and banning circuses. And I just wanted to say that I'm all throughout New Jersey doing outreach events, and this is too big for me. The number one complaint from residents is overdevelopment. That's all I hear about, overdevelopment of all the areas. The animals have nowhere to go. So we, on behalf of our members, we are joining the coalition because we are opposed to the development of Right-Hole Camp Park. Should I sign this?
Yeah, please.
Thank
Thank you very much. And again, if you'll just stand on line over there for people who want to speak, you'll be giving your turn. I don't know where the line starts.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You're up. Excuse me, can we just have some order, please, so we can hear people when they speak?
Can we have a microphone up here so we can hear back here? We can't hear nothing.
There is a microphone on the dais. There's not a...
We could just maybe ask everyone to,
This is the actual microphone.
I'm here tonight on behalf of Ann Tassinelli. She couldn't be here. She wanted me to,
Your name and address, please?
my name you want, or hers?
And address. Your name, you're
Oh,
speaking.
okay. She wanted me to read...
Your name and address, please.
Helen Martins,
And address.
59 Whiteway, Pompton Lakes.
Thank you.
I didn't know, I thought I had to sign hers, which I did. She wrote this letter and sent it to me because she couldn't be here tonight. It says, "I am sorry that I was unable to attend this meeting, but I would like someone to read this for me." It says, "I recall attending at least 2 of the meetings, maybe more, over a year ago, in which we pleaded with the freeholders to help us gain some relief with the unkept promises and untruths constantly told to us. We don't know where else to go. We even spoke to the county health department. We told them we had gone to our township council and over and received no answers whatsoever. And we told the freeholders that all the town officials do is put up smoking mirrors. They always have and tried to convince us that DuPont is doing all they can. But all that they may be doing is for nothing. If the source is still contaminated, I distinctly remember the freeholders Hector, Laura, and Terry Duffy, to name 2 of them, promised to do what they could to help us, and they did try. However, once our local officials got wind of their attempt, just as though would happen, they would make it so that the freeholders could not move forward. Mike Simone and Mayor Sierra, and maybe others as well, put a petition of a letter together demanding that the freeholders halt the spending any money for further investigations, and the county was told that all they could do was done, and already being done, and there was no need to spend any of the county residents' money to do any more. Maybe more studies was not the answer, or more lawyers was not the answer, but seeing as we have no answers, we would have appreciated something. Being something of our township has never believed the importance enough to spend on local money to do for its people. Again, another nail in the coffin. Although when a buyer is interested in buying our town in the Plume area, if they happen to send to Ed Merrill, they are given the fluff, and that there is no need to concern. I hope it will be nothing to worry about, but this mess is the second time around, and we are far away from the cleanup. What is going to happen 10, 20, 30 years from now when, although I hope to God I am wrong, there is more illness and more properties in crisis due to the groundwater and vapor contamination that wasn't addressed? Again, freeholders, we take this opportunity not to beat you up, but to assume that our children, our grandchildren who live in the Plume do not have to grow up and deal with what this present residents have to endure for so many years. Without our administration washing our backs. Ann Tassinelli, thank you.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but
Okay.
it's public.
My name is Joseph Dunphy, 15 Housley Terrace in Clifton. I'm here actually to speak on behalf of the handicapped. I happen to be an EMT and also an adult scout leader. I'm just here really to remind the freeholders how important it is for the handicapped of the state and the county to have access to the parks. And I do have a suggestion. First, a couple of statistics. Nationwide, 13.5% of the population is handicapped. The state of New Jersey is about 12%. Passaic County is about 12.5%. So it's a lot of people. About 54,000 people would be affected by anything that happens in the park who are disabled. My suggestion is that even though we have a public comment process, it would be really nice to have an extra push to reach out questionnaires to people who are disabled in that community, because we have terrific resources in this area. We have University Hospital that's done work for the Olympics. We have Kessler Institute, which treated, a lot of people will know Christopher Reeve as Superman. We have a design community that's getting very active in the state that can take ideas, suggestions from the handicapped community and turn it into design ideas that will improve the parks. So that's my suggestion to the freeholders. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kurt Schnackenberg, 268 Washington Avenue, Clifton, New Jersey. To the freeholders of Passaic County, I stand before you to ask for your mercy and compassion for one of the many properties in your care. Rifle Camp Park has long been a passive sanctuary for anyone seeking a quiet trail to walk in the woods and observe abundant wildlife. The park was designed this way from its beginning. Now you plan to install over this plan a large construction, a professionally designed disc golf course, which will radically transform the park and its relationship to the people who use it. Instead of a passive park, the new park will encourage active sport. It will be designed for tournament play by teams of organized participants. This is contrary to the park's history, original design, and current use by Passaic County residents. Instead of nature trails, Rifle Camp Park will have paths between fairways. Instead of natural areas, it will have metal holes, cast concrete tee pads, 3 pads per hole for different levels of skill, and cleared 250-foot fairways, 4,500 feet of fairway between 15 and 40 feet wide cut into the wood for the proposed 18 holes. Note that the wildlife in the park will not tolerate this new reality. Deer will leave, becoming a new hazard for the neighborhood. The profusion of birds will be reduced. Animals will lose nesting grounds and precious habitat. So too the population of humans will change. Instead of a resource for the Passaic County community, this new facility will attract crowds from all around us, from Bergen County, Central Jersey, and, as the closest tournament-level facility, New York City. Popular tournaments might involve closing the park to the public, as has been happening now on weekend mornings to Garrett Mountain Reservation. Where will the humans go who used to use the park? Where is the next stretch of passive parkland in Lower Passaic County? You know the answer to this question. There is no longer any passive parkland of any consequence in Lower Passaic County. With the installation of this disc golf facility, the extension of urban sprawl into the most intimate spaces of the Passaic County park system in Lower Passaic County will be complete. I am here to ask you to reconsider. What is the need, the demand, for a disc golf course? Why must it be placed in such a sensitive area? Is the need to play disc golf so great that it overrides the need to preserve any natural areas in Lower Passaic County? Are there no other county facilities with enough spare acreage to support a disc golf course? It appears to me there are other parks and facilities that would enthusiastically welcome a disc golf course where it would be in line with the existing landscape and active nature of the place. Rifle Camp Park is a special place.
Thank you very much for your time.
Worthy of
Your
consideration
3 minutes is up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jefferson Lasella, 31 Orchard Street, Pompton Lakes. I'm here to speak about Pompton Lakes, but I just want to also reiterate that I greatly appreciate the previous comment, and I completely agree with it. As I stand here, I'm on the board of the Pompton Lakes Residents for Environmental Integrity, and I'm also on the Pompton Lakes Community Advisory Group, which is a group of residents that works to help inform other residents about the work going on regarding the DuPont contamination. As you know, we've approached the freeholders at freeholders meetings in Patterson several times. As I stand here today, one of our own, her husband, is gravely ill from cancer, and she lives in the area that is denoted as the cancer cluster in the plume. I feel like I've been doing this for 9 years, and I'm talking to a brick wall, and I'm here to beg the freeholders to do what they initially promised us to do in complete agreement with Ann Tassinelli's letter that was read to you by Helen Martins. I believe that we are not seeing enough done to protect the residents of the plume of Pompton Lakes, New Jersey. Simple as that. And we asked for a meeting with Senator Booker. We were refused on that. I know you tried to help us with that, but we are at a point now where we're not being helped at any level of government. And it is really, the ball is in your court at this point, and I beg you to please help us. Property taxes are just sky high in this town, and they are aiming to go higher. Many homes are in foreclosure. Many homes are selling for much lower than their appraised value. And in the meantime, we're still in these houses. We're still breathing in this filth. Regardless of the vapor mitigation systems, those are an aid. They help, but they do not eliminate all of the toxins. We need to be able to sit down at a meeting with Senator Booker, with the freeholders. If the Borough Council wants to be there, that's fine. I know that they declined initially on that, but something has to be done. When the flood happened after Hurricane Irene, $27 million was given to buy out those homes. There's precedent in this town to buy out the homes in the plume. And that is when Mayor Sinsheimer negotiated with the banks, with the mortgage companies, the insurance companies, and the DuPont Corporation, and he got buyouts for every resident that wanted to be bought out along the Acid Brook in the 1990s. That should happen here now. But our Borough Council is not doing that. They are not helping us. They are not addressing it with us. We've been asking for this for almost a decade, and it's about time. Unfortunately, I have to go teach in North Haledon, so I will not be able to hear your response. I will look for it online, and I would hope that your response will extend beyond this meeting, and then I will be talking with you at a later time about this. Thank you.
I'm Thomas Shannon, 63 Grand Avenue, Pompton Lake. Just like to bring to your attention, in that area over the road, acid brook be taken care of. All they do is keep patching it up, and it keeps falling apart. And there's also another road from Turtle Drive down to the bridge, which is in real bad shape. But today I noticed on Turtle Drive they paved over on one side of the road, which was bad. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir? I'm sorry.
Good evening. My name is Angie Metler. I live at 8 Nutley Avenue in Highland Lakes, New Jersey. I am the Executive Director of the Animal Protection League of New Jersey, and I am here today to represent our members in Passaic County. Friends of Garrett Mountain reached out to us about the disc golf course and the dog park proposal for Rifle Camp Park. And the members in particular lived in Woodland Park, Clifton, and Little Falls, which surround that park. The Animal Protection League is joining with the Coalition to Protect Rifle Camp Park to keep its remaining natural beauty. Disruption of this park to a disc golf and to a dog park will have unintended consequences, like the gentleman before talking about displaced wildlife, and can create a dangerous condition for residents. One thing I don't like to do is I don't really like coming before boards and telling you what to do without providing some kind of a solution. I've worked for many years on open space committees, and one thing I've learned on that is that when we try to protect open space, we often find out that the development is in the pipe. line for many, many years. Here's a wonderful opportunity for you to stop development at its core and protect this park and to keep its natural beauty. And I read the, the stated county park, the stated goals in the county park recreation and park plan. Not once did I see anything about a disc golf course or a dog park being asked for. Disc golfing is available in 19 other areas throughout New Jersey. So there's lots of them. I talked to someone last night in Bergen County, says they're all over the place. And most people that I know who have dogs, who live with dogs, including myself, we don't go to dog parks. And in the plan, I also read that majority of the people go to Rifle Camp Park because of the hiking trails, because of the natural beauty. Please keep it pristine. Please keep it beautiful. Please keep it natural. Thank you very much.
Hey, doing freeholders. My name is Joe Intantola Jr. I'm sure you remember me.
What's your address, please, for the record?
It's 32A Walnut Street, Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, DuPont Village. I appeared before you down in Patterson several times, and at the last meeting I attended down there, Mr. Duffy was working on contacting the EPA, DEP, DuPont, now Chemours, and possibly the mayor to have a meeting and try to resolve issues for the residents. It was going back and forth, and then when the election came up in November, apparently we were no longer contacted, and we had no idea what the resolve is of the meeting. But Mr. Duffy did say at the time that the mayor was not interested in meeting, and he was, Mr. Duffy was supposed to get back to us on the EPA and the DEP and Chemours. Next issue is the Lakeside Bridge that crosses over the lake to Turhan Road in Wayne. That's a county bridge. It's approximately 4 lanes wide. In the center of the bridge, there is a approximately 4 to 6 inch drop between an expansion joint. Underneath the bridge, you have expansion pedestals that sit on top of the concrete foundation. Apparently, those collapsed on the one side, and there's a big drop. I think the county engineers should investigate that and repair the bridge, because if the pedestals shift any further, possibly the bridge can drop into the lake, one section of it. Plume update. I don't know what the EPA has been telling anybody here on the freeholders, that they said that they thought that the vapor levels have been reducing and that there's no big issues. But there's a whole new hotspot found in DuPont Village, which is actually 3 times the magnitude of the original area found on Barber Drive and Schuyler Avenue in the plume. Another issue with residents, there's approximately 300 residents there's 540 homes that are contaminated. 300 property owners filed suits against DuPont, now Chemours. Approximately 200 property owners settled using the vapor intrusion tests that were done in 2008. An engineer in April 2016 that worked for GE, confirmed by a second engineer who works also for the U.S. government and the DOD, confirmed that the testing was actually invalid and falsified. So now these 200 property owners, according to a judge in Bergen County that I met with and gave information in reference to the tests being invalid, may possibly throw out the settled cases, and now there might be a lawsuit against Pompton Lakes Town, the county, as well as the polluter for acts of fraud. In the...
Sorry, you agreed for 3 minutes. I'm going to let you go on for 30 more seconds because I want to hear it.
Sure. There's a remaining 100 property owners in the suit. And in this, we have an issue right now. The lake is being cleaned up by DuPont's contractor. They were given a route to drive through with certain roads to stay out of the residential areas. They're apparently not abiding by that, and they're driving through residential areas, including the DuPont Village, to take a shortcut.
as you're driving by the residents, people that are involved in the lawsuit, they're waving, saying hello, so it's harassment. I approached the mayor, and he claimed that it's an EPA issue. But since there are open cases, I'm putting on the record in front of you that the town of Pompton Lakes may be involved in a lawsuit unless these people are stopped. Very easily, the mayor...
All right, now I have to stop you, but I gave you an extra minute.
Sure.
I appreciate your comments.
Good evening. Al Dubois, Clifton, New Jersey. First, I'd like
What's
to
your
thank...
address, sir?
62 Elmwood Drive, Clifton, New Jersey. First, I'd like to thank Mr. DeNova and Mr. Jordan for giving me the information on the Rifle Camp Park. I wasn't aware of everything that was going on, except that I was reading in the paper regarding that disc golf course. However, I do attend both parks regularly, and I have to say, I think we should think of it as a passive park. The outline here is very well done. Maybe it's needed in this county, but maybe there's an alternative area that we can find something else to place it. That park is a beautiful park, and I went over the county parks and recreation plan before I came here tonight. So I had the old one, the 2001 plan, and I just have some questions that you can answer maybe later on. In the original plan, 2001, there's a mention on Chapter 6, page 1, of 600 acres in Garrett Mountain and Rifle Camp, separated by a narrow strip of privately owned land. When you go to another section of the document, Chapter 10, page 2, it talks about 750 acres to Garrett Mountain Park and Rifle Camp Road. So in that document, there was two lists of acreage that are wrong. I guess nobody caught it. If we go to the new plan, you go to page 11, it says Garrett Mountain Reservation is about 310 acres. If we go to page 16, Rifle Camp is 169. So now we're down to, we're 479 acres as compared to what is stated in the old plan of a 600 or 750. I don't recall ever losing any property. So can someone maybe, and if not tonight, in the near future, tell me if there was that many acres years ago and what had happened to it? The other thing, as I was going in there and reviewing it, in the back, there's an area that says, regarding waterways, and it says that the reservoir there is not linked to any other waterways that would lead into a major waterway. I don't, it's on page 12 of Rifle Camp Park in your plan. I just asked you to review that. It says Great Notch Reservoir is located adjacent to the park to the west. This is classified by surface water quality standards as a freshwater, non-trout producing waterway. This lake does not appear to be connected to larger stream or river system. I believe, because I was on the Clifton Environmental Commission for many years, I believe that that reservoir is linked somehow to the Third River, and the Third River does flow into the Passaic River. I know we did a Third River study report. When we did that report, in that report, we made the connection. So, you know, they can answer me later, but if it is connected, maybe we should modify that down the line or amend it. But Anthony, thank you for the information. There's been great speakers here, so I can't say nothing better than that. It's a beautiful park. I know you're parked in the right place, because you want what's best, and you answered me the last time knowing that little area about the veterans, so I know you're very familiar with the park, but we don't have enough land in this county, especially down south, so just rethink it.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Vera Lazar. I'm from Clifton. I'm a member of...
What's your address, please?
22 Spencer Ave in Clifton. I am on the Clifton Environmental Commission and a member of the Friends of Garrett Mountain. And I'm here once again to urge you, our elected officials, to reject the installation of the disc golf course at Rifle Camp Park. The disc golf course, along with the other proposed changes in use for Rifle Camp Park, will degrade the natural environment of this important forest in a way in which it may never recover. Rifle Camp Park is one of the last wild and natural open spaces in Lower Passaic County. providing critical habitat for numerous species of birds and wildlife, and providing a chance for urban residents to escape the stress and bustle of the city and connect with the serenity of unspoiled nature. But the disc golf course would change all that, cutting wide swaths through the core of the forest, cutting down over 100 healthy trees, fragmenting important bird habitat, impacting wetlands and streams, taking quiet nature trails out of use, all for one special interest group. The people of Lower Passaic County are not wanting a disc golf course here. They are wanting trails to walk and to hike amongst nature, and that is clear from the survey results from the master plan. At previous meetings, it's been said that the up-county parks are for nature and passive recreation. And maybe it comes as a surprise, but the people of Lower Passaic County also want and deserve the same chance for passive recreation. In fact, it's even more vital for those who live in urban areas. I know it's been said at previous meetings also that you need to think of all the residents. And I just wanted to say that this is not about just one small group of bird watchers. This is for all the residents of Passaic County. And therefore, I ask you again to reconsider and to reject the installation of the disc golf course at Rifle Camp Park. And before, I would just like to state on what Al mentioned about the reservoir and the connection. It is true that the headwaters of the Third River, which is a tributary to the Passaic River, the headwaters are formed in Rifle Camp Park. And as a matter of fact, I just noticed that one of the disc golf fairways actually crosses over the headwaters of that, the headwater stream. The disc golf course also comes very close to other wetlands in the park, and it follows directly alongside a small stream which forms the headwaters of Slippery Rock Brook, which also enters into the Passaic River. The only other thing I'd like to mention is regarding the dog park. I don't know if you are aware, but the dog park, the location of the dog park is being put in an area where it's densely forested and it includes wetlands. I think that there would be if the county decides. I have nothing against dogs. I love dogs. I have a dog. I don't go to dog parks myself, but if the county did want to put a dog park in one of the parks, I don't think that Rifle Camp is the correct location, and certainly not this area of dense forest and wetlands.
You're at Fuego, but thank you very much for your
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jeff Rappaport, 69 Allen Drive in Wayne. I work with a number of different environmental groups. I think the gentleman asked an interesting question. We're down to 169 acres. We're talking about 18, 19 acres for the golf course. We're talking about a number of acres of deforestation from the dog run, and who knows what else around the pond. And I don't know the last time it's frozen in Passaic County, of that part of Passaic County, for enough time to really allow that water to freeze over. So I think there's a number of inconsistencies here. I want to ask the freeholders to get back to me on what we're exactly talking about in terms of acreage that's going to be contributing to deforestation. The way I'm looking at it, once you throw in the parking lots, the roadways, and a number of other different non-forest, non-meadow areas, we're talking about a substantial utilization or death of the park. And I'd like you to get back on that, because I haven't been able to pull the exact numbers here. I'm gratified to see how many groups have come tonight to support that you do not allow this utilization to take place. I think that you'll hear some more tonight, and maybe more next time, but people do not like this idea, and I think you should give that consideration. But please get back to me on the acreage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amelie Torciello, 444 Midland Avenue, Pompton Lakes. Thank you all for coming and to hear us at Pompton Lakes. I just had two questions. On Midland Avenue, we have Broad Street and Ringwood Avenue, which is the county roads, both of them. We have no handicap, they're all destroyed. We have a handicapped person that goes on the street with 100 trucks a day, and one of these days, you're not gonna see them from the truck. So they're all collapsed from all the trucks. The handicapped sidewalk is higher, slower, and you cannot go on the sidewalk and go to the handicapped ramp. So I would like you guys to check on that, please, because I know it's both county road, Broad Street and Ringwood Avenue.
You're not talking about the road, you're talking about the sidewalks.
Well, I'm talking that old corner, right?
Yeah, but you're talking
Right.
about sidewalks, not county road, you're talking about sidewalks.
Right, I was just mentioning where it is. It's on
Yeah,
Broad
I'm just
Street and
trying to
Ringwood Avenue.
clarify, you're not talking
Yeah.
about something on a county
Right.
road, you're talking about a
It's
sidewalk.
right, the handicapped
Okay,
exit.
thank you.
Right. The other thing, is there any plans to do with the, let me see, the county garage? Do you have plans to do what to do with that? You're selling it, you're keeping it? What are you doing with that? Do anybody know? Is there any plans on it?
We answer
Oh.
after the public's closed.
Sorry, I got used to the mayor bringing it back to the answer right away. Now you guys are bringing me back to the old, okay. All right, so that's really what it is. I'd like to get those. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, I'm Georgette DeRoche. I live at 132 Quartz Lane, Garrett Mountain, Patterson, New Jersey. In a city, a beautiful city, since I was so criticized the last time for using other language about the city of Patterson, I will call it a beautiful city tonight. And it is a city that has such little green, open areas, as everybody tonight was talking about, that I feel for you. You have made basically a decision about instituting this Frisbee course. And it is extremely difficult, not to be underestimated, how difficult it is to hear all of the opposition to what you have previously felt to be a wise decision. But it is also a sign of great leadership to be able to recognize when there is sufficient opposition to an idea to seriously reconsider it. And I ask each one of you to please listen to the folks who come forward and who want to preserve this itsy-bitsy area of Patterson, New Jersey, that has virtually no green space left for trails, wildlife, and all of nature that is so exquisitely beautiful. I would also like to say that I understand that the director of the Nature Center at Rifle Camp Park has just recently resigned. While I don't know Bill Cuono personally, I have met and chatted with him the few times I've attended the Nature Center in Rifle Camp Park. I am extremely sad to learn of his resignation. Bill brought, over the 7 years that he was there, a wealth of knowledge, information, and ingenuity to the Nature Center. And I would like to publicly take this opportunity to thank Bill Cuono for his dedication to the Rifle Camp Nature Center on behalf of the numerous children, thousands of children that he has educated as well as the adults. Bill may be one of the most underappreciated employees in the Passaic County parks, in my opinion, and we will miss him enormously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello,
Hello.
Mary Walsh. We met last time. Nobody took me up on my offer of leading me through the Rifle Camp Park, but the offer still stands.
You want to give your name and address, please?
It's Mary Walsh. I do live in Hackensack, but I'm the conservation co-chair of the North Jersey chapter of the New Jersey Sierra Club.
Thank you.
We cover Passaic and Bergen County.
Thank you. For the record, when you give the address, please.
I said Hackensack, New
Yeah,
Jersey.
you did. Your address in Hackensack?
Oh,
For the record?
64 Davis Avenue.
Thank you very much.
So I did some research on what's involved with this golf course, because I'm sure you would like, your plan is to do a highly professional job. So the Disc Golf Course Association provides descriptions of how these things should go. They say, and I quote, "Fairways should not cross or be too close to public streets, sidewalks, and other areas where non-players congregate." The effect on Rifle Camp Park is that this will eliminate, you cannot put any fairways near the camping platforms, the viewpoints, all the roads in the park, because people walk on the roads, the nature center, the red trail, and the yellow trail. The DGA, the Disc Golf Association, also says a well-balanced course has a mixture of holes that go completely through the woods, partially through the woods, and mostly in the open. The effect on Rifle Camp Park, if you do the design the way it should be done, is contrary to the statements of the forester, who said that there would be very few trees removed. The DGA also says that typically fairways range from 20 to 40 feet wide. Your plan has them as 30 feet wide. This usually, and the DGA says this usually means that some larger trees need to be removed to create fair flight paths. Again, the effect on Rifle Camp Park. This is contrary to the forester's statement that, and I quote, "The trees removed as part of the project would be slated for removal, regardless of whether a disc golf course is being installed." That is absolutely untrue. DGA says there should not be too many obstructions within 30 feet of each target. Again, any structures that already exist close to the proposed course have to be removed, which includes trees. How much time do I have? Is it a 5-minute limit?
30 seconds.
Okay. I have come to the conclusion that because you have the money, you probably need to put this golf course someplace else. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Jackie Schramm. I live at 460 Indian Road in Wayne, New Jersey. I'm also the Director of Social Justice at St. Mary's in Pompton Lakes. We have several environmental groups, Franciscan Response to Fracking, Advocates for Justice, etc. Several members in my Franciscan Response group are involved with this issue, and that's how I found out about it. I also taught in Patterson many years ago, but I know how important Rifle Camp Park is, and that's why I'm standing before you. We have fought many issues over the years. I was a volunteer for 14 years before being on staff for 15 years, and in all parts of Passaic County, we have seen the same kind of situation. Pinnacle Tract, Oakland, and bordering Wayne, and they say they'll just take so many trees and they'll do this type of, and the story is the same over and over. We're fighting very hard to preserve what's left of these types of properties, and they are so important, they're vital. For all the reasons everybody's mentioned, I would add one more, the health of us, of our nation. We really need nature, you know, so you know, St. Francis, care for creation, Pope Francis, Laudato Si, you know, on the care for our common home. I'm speaking on behalf of the voices and the voiceless that aren't able to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Ann Schnackenberg, 268 Washington Ave, Clifton, New Jersey. Greetings. Tonight I'm here again to ask you to make a motion to cancel your plan to install a disc golf course in Rifle Camp Park and the Audubon State Important Bird Area and National Natural Landmark. This park should never have been chosen as a site for this project from the get-go. You should all question the due diligence of the so-called research that was done to determine this as the best location for this venue. Where is it? Who did it? What other parks are considered? Why has this research not been made accessible to the public? Why have no formal public hearings and public notifications been provided? Why is this project important enough to override and bypass standard county planning and Green Acres statutes governing public notification? I know that why Rifle Camp Park is special. It's an Audubon important bird area, vital to survival of endangered species, and the last remnant of natural open space available to Lower Passaic County residents. So why is disc golf so special to you? Why is it getting special treatment? Among my degrees, I hold one in horticultural therapy, so I'm particularly well educated on the benefits that access to the natural environment can provide. Here's a term for you: nature deficit disorder, a phrase coined by American journalist Richard Louv in his 2005 book, Last Child in the Woods. It means that human beings, especially children, are spending less time outdoors, resulting in a wide range of behavioral problems. The term serves as a description of the human costs of alienation from the natural world. We need nature. We need Rifle Camp Park to remain a natural haven to provide healing and respite to the residents and children of Lower Passaic County. Don't take this vital amenity away from us. Put sports fields like disc golf fairways elsewhere. Please end this today. Freeholder Octor, Freeholder Best, Freeholder James. Some of you are running for Freeholder. Mr. Bartlett, Freeholder Bartlett, you're running as a Democrat for Congress. Rifle Camp Park is your proving ground. If you can't stop a disc golf course in a vital Audubon important bird area, in a local park that caters to endangered wildlife habitat, how are voters ever going to expect you to be effective in stopping important anti-environmental initiatives like environmental contamination, pipelines, oil trains, and the like? I see here, this is great, you guys look great, but Mr. Bartlett, Freeholder Bartlett, James, and Octor, you walked with the Nature Conservancy in a walkathon for Nature Conservancy's Plant a Billion Trees initiative. I'd love you to plant a billion trees. I'd also love you not to remove the trees from Rifle Camp Park. You say here, hashtag walk green? Hashtag walk green in Rifle Camp Park with us, the residents of Lower Passaic County, who are asking you, stop this disc golf course today. Let this be your legacy. Preserve Rifle Camp Park today. Thank you.
Good evening. My first name is June, last name Gillerman, 60 Garden Road, Pompton Lakes, New Jersey. It's a tough act to follow. I wish I had prepared words this evening. I do not. All due respect to the mayor and council, this is the first time I'm addressing any official, and I want to also at the onset thank the folks, the Pompton Lakes folks, that spoke to you in passion about DuPont. I would think the average median age in this room this evening, I'm going to be 60 in November. I have a deadly form of cancer. This is not a fashion statement. My treatment will continue, has been going on for the last 10 months, will continue until January. My brother passed away quite quickly, and men, be careful, because this is, I've learned, unfortunately, commonplace, esophageal cancer. He was diagnosed and he died in 15 days. Now, the reason why I tell you all this, we grew up and moved to Pompton Lakes
in 1957. There wasn't a day that we didn't swim in Hirschfield, and there was about 3 years that we water skied openly as preteens and teens on the lake. So what do I see but DuPont and millions, maybe billions. My husband and I are behind the times, but now all of a sudden, due to necessity, we're now trying to catch up, read articles, and find out where everything is. Now, to no surprise, what did I hear my Pompton Lakes residents before me sound off saying? Doesn't sound very good. Not for you folks at county level, not for you folks at the local level, and not for the state folks. All due respect to endangered species, we're talking life and death. Okay? This is off the cuff. This is from my heart. Losing my brother at 60 years old was bad enough. I hope I make 60. That's totally not sure. But all of this is because my parents moved to good old Pompton Lakes when I was 10 months old. It was a great town growing up, but it's now incumbent of every official, local, county, and state to make sure, excuse me, to make sure that this rhetoric is done and over with, and that people are protected and we're listened to. I guess I could go on or whatever, but I'm not going to. It's DuPont. And I do want to say one thing. You know, environmentally, I know there's science behind all this, but, I lived through the '68 flood, like a handful of us in this room, and you can't tell me that the plume that is now 2 plumes, or if you talk to somebody else, it's, poor little Pompton is all of what, 3 miles square, whatever? With the '68 flood, you can't tell me that this stuff didn't rise and deposit elsewhere, and I played on those ball fields. So did my brother. He's not here. And he didn't smoke esophageal cancer. That was the first thing they said. He never smoked a day in his life. So, like I said, for the average age of folks in here, remember my haircut. It's not a fashion statement. Thank
you. Randy Hitton, 443 Montclair Avenue, Pompton Lakes. I just want to concur with the woman who just spoke. I grew up in the Plumley area also. Democratic freeholders, Pompton Lakes Republican Council, you have to work together. We can't play politics on this. People's lives are at stake. So I just wanted to agree with everything that she had to say and the other speakers as far as DuPont is concerned. Revaluation. We were told that revaluation was ordered by the county. Is this true? No, the county did not order Pompton Lakes to get
County tax board is a state office.
Excuse me?
The county tax board is called county tax board. It's a state office, not a county office.
All right, so that's ordered by the state then?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I wanted to bring up that Pompton Lakes garage. Millie had talked about it. I was curious about it also. As to the status of that, is that going to be sold, or what is the county going to do with that? There was a woman who spoke for another woman before. Is she allowed to speak for herself now, or she's only allowed to speak once? Lastly, I would just like to, is that true? Lastly, I would like to thank the county for lowering my tax bill. I really appreciated that. Is there any way that they can work with our council to educate them on how to lower taxes? That would be very helpful.
Director, is that...
Talk to Mr. Mayor.
Randy, does that woman want to talk? Randy, the director, that woman want to talk?
Hello, is there anyone else?
Helen, would you like to speak?
Terry, we have an opinion from our attorney. Can you not interfere in that?
I asked her to be addressed. Go ahead.
If you want to speak, you can. Where is the woman? If you want to speak, you can come on up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, anything.
I appreciate that, thank you. Helen Marcus, 59 Lightline, Pompton Lakes. I say good evening to your freeholders and thank you for coming. I remember when we came to freeholder meetings in Patterson and pleaded our case about the cleanup in Pompton Lakes for about 2 years. I know some of this sounds redundant because of Ann. You told us you'd get back to us on our concerns and let us know if you could help us. We were so happy to know that someone felt our pain and understood that what DuPont was doing in our town was wrong. The residents were the ones paying the price for DuPont's toxic dumping for almost a century. We explained how many residents were sick and dying from contaminants, but DuPont was never forced to do a full cleanup, and that our concerns were invalid, and even expressed our concerns about Wayne and what could happen with the DuPont toxins migrating into Wayne. And our concerned residents spoke about that, and it happened. Our town elected officials just ignore us and say there's nothing more warranted and ignore us. We have tried for so long to prove that our lives matter and that they should be important, because if we don't correct this now, what is it going to be like if big companies are not held to a high standard of cleanup for the future generations? So we stayed patient and waited to hear from the freeholders to let us know if they could help after all the meetings and loads of documents and proof. More accountable. So then our freeholders tried to help make, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong page. Now the freeholders said that they were going to set aside money to hire a person to look into these concerns. As soon as our elected officials found out that we had come to you, they were livid, and they wrote a letter expressing their feelings about this. They thought it was ridiculous that the freeholders wanted someone to look into these issues with the whole cleanup, because all this time, after decades of remediation activities, they didn't get involved in it. Finding their timing of such a decision to spend money on this was bizarre. On the approach to be despicable, they said. What are they afraid of, is what I want to know. Our council doesn't understand what there is more to a cleanup than just what DuPont wants to do. DuPont's property is still not cleaned up. Our homes still have groundwater contamination under them, and the lake isn't going to be fully cleaned up by no means. There will still be hot spots on Wayne's side, and not even I don't know what I was saying there, but you can always make something look good, but is it really good? Is it really cleaned up? Not really. Okay.
I've let you go way longer than I normally do, so thank you very much.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to thank you and to say that to Freeholder Bartlett, I saw your article in the paper. Feel our pain. Help us, because we have nowhere to go. It seems like everybody that tries to help us gets shut down. And our lives matter. Thank you.
My name's Santo Gillerman, 60 Garden Road in Pompton Lakes, and that was my wife that spoke a little while ago. Just one of the things that she wanted to mention too was that we lost a lot of friends in town that have grown up in town from cancer. So that was important. I speak with a little knowledge here too, because I'm an environmental professional for over 35 years. And I work for a large pharmaceutical company, and I've done a lot of remediations and as a project manager, so I know what I speak of. There's really something here, and I'm not one to I'm sorry. What I was saying is I'm an environmental professional, and I've worked for a large pharma company, actually, and I've done a lot of remediations and project manager for remediations from the corporation side. And I'm not one to panic over these things or get excited over these things, but there's something here, something that really needs to be looked at. So I really urge you to look at this closely, look at what's going on in this town. It's really important because lives are at stake here.
Thank you very much.
Seeing no one at the podium,
Anyone else who hasn't spoken and wants to speak?
seeing no one at the podium, I move to close public portion.
Is there a second? Roll, please.
Freeholders, Actor.
Yes.
Bartlett. Yes. Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore. Yes. Deputy Director James.
Yes. There's a lot to,
I respond to Mr. Ward first?
yeah, sure.
My name is Michael Glover, and I'm the Deputy County Counsel. I wanted to address, Ms. Gordon at the very beginning, seems like a while ago, asked a question about when do the freeholders have to hold public hearings. What my office does, the County Council office, is we review all the actions of the freeholders, and we write all the resolutions. There are certain activities of the board that, under state law, call for public hearings. When that occurs, for example, open space projects over $100,000, we tell the board when by law they are required to hold public hearings, and that is when public hearings are held, for the most part. I hope that answers that question.
Director, if I could answer just some of the Lincoln Avenue Bridge. I know there were a couple of comments. My engineering department is actually going to be out here tomorrow, so we could take a look at the structural issue that the resident addressed. We're also looking, it's on our schedule, as Field Report said earlier. It's under design right now to be replaced. But in the meantime, we're looking to put a skim coat of asphalt on it to try to smooth it out as best we can until that replacement actually takes place. As far as the Pompton Lakes garage, the county is in the process of designing and building a new facility that will house all of our maintenance. Presently, we do it in 3 separate areas, so we will do that. It's a couple of years away. Obviously, at the end of the project, we'll determine what exactly to do with that. Obviously, we'd like to sell it, get it off of our backs. But again, that project is only under design. Hope maybe to go out to bid by the end of this year, and it's probably at least 18 months of construction before we would move anybody out of the Pompton Lakes garage. I think that's all that I could speak about.
If I can answer a couple issues here. First of all, following up on Mr. DeNova's comments about the Pompton Lakes garage, as he stated, we're consolidating our mechanics facilities to what we call the Nike base, the Nike area on behind Gary's Wines. If you're not familiar with the area on Route 23, we have quite a bit of property back there, and we're looking to consolidate operations there. Ultimately, our goal is to put that property that's currently the Pompton Lake garage back on the tax rolls, Mayor. It'd be an added rateable to the community and help, with the revenue stream that you desperately need. Every municipality desperately needs. There was some comments about the reservoir in Rifle Camp. That's being, I think Mr. Dubois brought up the issue. That reservoir in Rifle Camp Park, the one on New Street just below Garrett Mountain, and the one in Patterson, the Levine Reservoir on Grant Street, all 3 of those reservoirs contain treated water by the Passaic Valley Water Commission. They treat the water and they put it in these open air reservoirs. If you've been following the news the last year and a half or so, there's been controversy involving putting those waters in tanks on the property. Most of the municipalities are not in favor of that. We had an issue with it in terms of, because it is next to our county park. The residents, I can speak only for Woodland Park because I'm very familiar with a lot of residents there, and our mayor there took on the fight against the tanks and coordinated with Patterson officials to fight the tanks. That's where that is. But those waters don't come from any river area. The only untreated water that goes into those reservoirs is any runoff from a rainstorm. If the area
that's sloped around it, it might go in there, but there's no river feeding that, and it doesn't go into a river. It's part of the Passaic Valley Water Commission operations, and again, it's treated water. So I hope I can clear that up. In terms of, there was some question, I think Mr. Dubois also raised the issue. I don't see him. Oh, there you are. Yeah, that's an interesting point you brought up about, the acreage being one number on this page, another number on that page. I would suspect, and I'm speculating here, that a lot of that has to do with the development that went on through the years before I came along. Someone here, the resident from Garrett Heights, that was part of Garrett Mountain at one time. I would suspect long before those units were built there. There are homes along the Clifton border there that I suspect were part of the Garrett Mountain Reservation at one time. Again, speculating, but as areas being developed, and I think another resident talked about stopping development, as areas are developed, the acreage of open space is cut back, and that's why it's so important that we try, this freeholder board, at least in my tenure, we have tried to protect as much open space as we possibly can. Those of you who are familiar with the Kuhn Farm in Wayne on Black Oak Ridge Road there, we bought the development rights there because we felt it was important that it stay a farm. Had we not done that, that entire area would have been developed, and not only would you have lost precious farmland, but you would have had more development in an area that's already overdeveloped, I believe. So these are some of the things that you folks brought up that I had some sort of knowledge with, and I hope I answered everyone's question there. Thank you, Deputy Director.
If I could, Sue, I'm sorry, one more, Ms. Torrisella, when engineering is here, could you go out and take a look at those handicap ramps on, it was Ringwood and Broad?
Broad and, yeah.
Right, could you take a look at those?
Yeah, problematic.
Good answer.
Well, that doesn't mean they shouldn't be repaired, right? You got quarried from...
You take a look at them and you'll get back to me as to what the issue is. Thank you.
I don't want to go back over anything that's already been covered, but Mr. Dunphy, you had a question about accessibility of parks for people with disabilities. I know that a lot of the improvements we've made in Gothelbrook Park in Hawthorne have taken that into consideration. I know that the new park that we're developing in Passaic in conjunction with the mayor there is going to have, among other things, playground equipment that's accessible for kids with various types of disabilities, including not only, motor disabilities and getting around, but also kids on the autism spectrum. And that's something that a number of the freeholders up here have worked on in various respects, including making the pool at Passaic County Tech available to Special Olympic swim teams and kids with autism to learn water safety. That's definitely a concern, and I appreciate that. Did Weaselbrook Park, does the new playground equipment at Weaselbrook Park accessible? Tony, do you know that?
I'm not sure. Steve, do you have that answer?
It's inclusionary.
And also, on tonight's agenda is the approval of plans and specs for the Garrett Mountain Phase 1, which includes the bathrooms there to be redone and obviously handicap accessible as well.
Anything else? Okay. All right. Hang on. All right, so K1, which is the only K, requires a 2/3 vote, so it's a resolution authorizing the award of contract to Park Lane Construction Corporation for the construction of a salt storage building in the township of West Milton, in negotiation in accordance with NJSA 48:11-5, semicolon, parentheses 3, as noted in the resolution. Can I have a motion for that, please?
I'll move it. Second.
Roll.
Freeholders, Actor. Bartlett.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James.
Yes. All right, we have, two late starters. Can I have a motion to add them, please, as per council?
So moved.
Can we amend 18 with the same motion?
All right, well, with the motion, then can we also amend, resolution 18?
And you're pulling 14.
14, so that's...
Well, we don't have to do anything. We're pulling 14, we're amending, 18, and we're adding, L64 and L65.
So I move to amend 18 and add L64 and 65 to the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second. Freeholders, Actor. Bartlett.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James.
Yes. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Bartlett, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Duffy. Roll.
Freeholders, Actor. Bartlett.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James.
Yes. That's where we're going, long agenda, all right. Pat, you want to do?
Move the personnel agenda.
Second.
Roll.
Who's second?
Bartlett.
Actor. Freeholders, Actor. Yes. Bartlett.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore. Yes. Deputy Director James.
Yes.
Move the bills list.
So be it.
Second by Actor.
Freeholders, Actor. Yes. Bartlett.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore. Yes. Deputy Director James.
Yes.
Move certification of payroll.
Second.
Second.
Second by Bartlett. Roll.
Freeholders, Actor. Yes. Bartlett.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James.
Yes. We see the departmental report.
Receive the file.
Have a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Hold on.
Before we adjourn, just for the record, we recently went out and sold $3 million worth of Chapter 12 bonds with the State County Community College. The winning bidder was Robert Baird and Company at an interest rate of 1.93%.
1.93, not bad. All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
Moved by Duffy, seconded by Lepore. Roll.
Freeholders, Actor. Yes. Bartlett.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for coming, Mayor.